here had to do a callback where they had to kiss their partner? How many? Oh, wow, really? Wow. And how many during that callback scene where you had to kiss your partner thought that the partner had bad breath?
Welcome to Casting Actors Cast, insights for actors on acting in the business of show. Casting director Jeffrey Dreisbach takes you behind the scenes and reveals secrets to a successful acting career. You can find out more on the web at castingactorscast.com. Please enjoy, like, and share Casting Actors Cast. Now, here's your host, Jeffrey Dreisbach.
Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Casting Actors Cast. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach, casting director with McCorkle Casting, with yet another episode of Casting Actors Cast. Welcome aboard. So glad that you're here. How are you today? Hope you're having a good day. I'm excited to be sharing this information with you today because I think it's something that might have some real relevance to what's going on, not only in the business of show, but in your auditions. So stay tuned. We're calling this episode Callback, Seal the Deal. I think I have more fun coming up with these names and kind of teasing these names than probably anything else that I do in this podcast. Callback, seal the deal. And I'm going to be talking to you about what that means and how you can make your work even better in just a moment. So this is that portion of the podcast where I take a moment to thank you so very much for listening. I still keep getting all kinds of feedback on the numbers that are coming in, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to do these podcasts. And if you've had an opportunity to contact me, I really appreciate the mail and email feedback that I've been getting about the podcast. Please keep it coming. It really encourages me to keep on doing these. And if you haven't gone to castingactorscast.com, I encourage you to do so. I try to update the website as much as I can. You can get a lot of past episodes there, and you can play them right on that website, so you don't have to go to another website to listen in. And coming up in 2019, I plan on making a very special announcement regarding something really cool and really free for those people who are regular listeners. So if you are a regular listener, please let me know, and I'm going to give you a special promotion, absolutely free and easy and really useful, I think. But that'll be coming up in future podcasts, so that's my tease. But please do go to castingactorscast.com. That's Casting Actors Cast, all one word. And again, thank you so very, very much. So today's episode on Casting Actors Cast, Callback, Seal the Deal. So let's talk about what it means first. Callback, seal the deal. I heard from an agent talking to a class about this, and I thought it was really a great way to say it. An actor was saying, I rarely get any kind of feedback in an audition. I really, don't know how I do. Sometimes in my nervous excitement and in my preparation, I end up doing the audition. They say, thank you very much. That's great. Thank you very much. And I leave, and I really don't know what I'm doing. And I'm now in the elevator on the way home, re-auditioning. Trying to figure out how I did, trying to recall those series of events. And I talk about this in a previous podcast about auditioning. But the agent that I'm referring to literally said to this actor who was kind of complaining a little bit about not getting enough feedback, the agent said, the best feedback is a callback. And that's really the truth. When you get a call back, either through your agent or they even ask you on the spot, sometimes at McCorkle Casting, our time is rather short, and we'll say, can you come back at 2:00? And we'll do it right there and then. And that's because of the time frame. Often the director can't stay for an extended period of time, and we have callbacks in the afternoon when we're doing auditions in the morning, or perhaps we'll have 2 days of auditions or 1.5 days of auditions, and then the afternoon is set for those people to come back. So sometimes we'll ask them to come back right away. Sometimes it'll be another week or so, depending upon the project, whether it's a film or television project. But suffice it to say that you don't know how you're going to get the call back. Sometimes it's live right then and there, and sometimes it'll come through an agent or a manager or a phone call from an assistant. That's how that goes. But the bottom line is that's tremendous feedback, because what does that really mean? It means that the creative team sees you in the role. So the director or the producer, something that you did in that audition was enough to bring you back and see how you fit into the concept that they're thinking about. So something you did already worked. Let's talk about that for just a moment. It took me a long time when I was acting to remember to write down the auditions that I had and what I did in the audition. So take a note every time you audition for something. Exactly what was your point of view? What was the overall objective that you were trying to get out of the scene? How did you play that part? Give yourself some keywords. Now, you don't have to do a long diatribe about your interpretation, but something that's going to trigger your memory so that you can recall what you did in the audition. Because that becomes a very, very critical and important thing to do when you go back for the callback. The creative team sees you in the role. Now you've gotten the callback. What do? You've got the callback. That's great. Aside from repeating what you did in the first audition, this becomes really important. Work really hard on those choices. Work really hard on the audition itself. Not only recalling what you did, but try to find and explore other options within the choices that you made in that first audition when you work on the role. I think there is an important statement that is being made when you come into a callback and you have the scene memorized. Now, this is really important. I don't want it to be an exercise in your memory skills. What I would love it to be for you is that you've worked on that callback so hard that you can probably do it without a book and still feel like you're creative. In other words, it's a step closer to the rehearsal process. And remember that an audition and a callback is not a performance. You're showing me how you're going to play the part. That's true. But you are there to book the job so that you can start the rehearsal process, so that you can work on the role. So you have to show me that you've worked on the role to this point. And so the callback is a demonstration of that. It is not a final performance. It's absolutely a statement about, I'm now thinking that this is the direction that I would like to do to play this part. So that's why it's important that you work hard for the choices that you make. The other thing to do is to go into that callback feeling confident, but not cocky. And you know what I mean by cocky, sort of like like overly familiar with the director and the producer and the casting director, and hail fellow, well met, and slapping on the back, and great to be here, and blah, blah, blah. Better, I think, to come in with that professional approach, that clean, I'm looking forward to continuing to show you how I am going to play this part. That really is a useful approach, I think, to when you use the callback. Now, the third thing to do in that callback is make sure you are totally focused and listening to what the director is saying to you. Because that can come in a lot of different ways. One, it could be that the director has nothing to say and just wants to be reminded of what you did in the first audition. So many times the director will say, let's just do what you did last time, and if I have any thoughts, I'll share it with you at that time. What the director might be doing, and happens frequently, is that the director doesn't necessarily remember all the people that he called back. Reality check. Directors don't have the kind of memory that you think that they do. I think you might think as an actor that these directors and casting directors have the superhuman memory skill, and that's not really the case. The case is that the director wants to just be reminded of what you did in the audition, and what you did was enough to have them call you back, and that's what he wants to key in on when you do the callback. Really important to listen to what he might be saying to you. He might just simply be saying, I need a reminder of what you did. But he's not going to say that because he doesn't want to be rude or feel like, he's not doing his job or whatever. The choice that you make is to repeat what you did in that first audition if he's not giving you any notes. There are other times when you come into the callback and the director says, well, last time you were here, you approached the character this way. And I've been thinking that maybe it might be fun and more interesting, and I'd love to see you play it this way and give you an adjustment. That's why it's critically important to listen to those creative types that are giving you some kind of feedback. Now, here's the other thing. Sometimes that feedback might come through the casting director. Oftentimes, it'll happen when we are putting the callback calls out. Let's say it's not happening that afternoon. Let's say it's happening a few days from now. So we'd like to call little Susie back because she did such a great audition. But we want her to be a little more ... fill in the blanks. We want her to be a little more angry. We want her to find more humor in the script. We want her to not be as overly excited, that she's actually got a subtext that's, we are looking for something a little more understated. Those are the kinds of adjectives that we will use quite a bit. Sometimes the adjustment will come through the casting director, or sometimes it'll come live in the room when you walk in for your callback. So listening to the adjustments, really take a moment to absorb what is being said. Don't let the nervous excitement overwhelm you. The excitement of the moment sometimes prevents us from really keying in, concentrating, and listening. Now, the third area about what to do in a callback is this happens very frequently, and the director has decided that he wants to bring you back and maybe a few others, as many as 10 or 12. You never know. Depending upon how many he sees and where he's going with what he has already seen, he may want to bring you in and partner you with another player, another actor. And that becomes really interesting. A final callback, you are allowed to partner actors together. And let's tear that apart just a second, shall we? When you want to partner somebody, it's really because you want to find out, if they look well together, if they are playing well together, if there's a similar kind of acting style and sensibility that would work for the vision of the production. And so when you go into a callback, you will probably be notified that, and sometimes we'll say, we're going to mix and match you. So you might be reading with 2 or 3 other leading men or leading ladies or whatever the dynamic is in the part. So be prepared in that mixing and matching. So let's tear that apart a little bit. What are the qualities that you can bring in a callback situation where you're partnering with somebody? First and foremost, and I know you've heard this, but it's important to listen to each other. And that goes to this point, which is if you have an opportunity to work with each other outside of the room, then please have the courtesy and professionalism and enthusiasm to do that. It always astounds me when the actor has an opportunity to work with the other actor outside of the room before they go in, and they do it very reluctantly, or they do it in a way that shows that they're just kind of saying the words. They're not really giving of their audition. And boy, we could do an entire series of psychology about how threatening that actor must feel to not really show the other actor how they're going to play the part. I mean, that's just kind of like some kind of weird sabotage thing going on. But if it happens to you, it's really something to embrace that opportunity and to work outside the room if you can as much as possible. And really do listen to each other. Along those same lines, when you're working in the audition with a partner, remember to mirror the energy that you're giving off and that the partner is giving you. Mirroring the energy can be really a wonderful dynamic, and that doesn't mean that you can't be at opposite ends of the emotional place you are as a character. I'm talking more about being in the same room, in the same space, in the same moment as your partner. Again, I'm not talking about mirroring. I'm I have trouble with my R's, so I have to say mirroring. And anyway, I'm moving on. But do consider the energy that you're given and mirror that back to your partner. There, I kind of said it. Another thing about partnership in an audition, please be really careful not to upstage your partner, or by the same token, do not be upstaged by another actor. If that actor does a cross, for example, you haven't worked it out something physically or whatever, make sure the dynamics are appropriate in terms of the blocking. That means if the actor crosses in front of you slightly downstage, then you counter cross. Then you do what you have to do to be in the scene with this other actor. Sometimes actors think that that kind of staging keeps the interest of the scene going, and I can't get into the psychology or the heads of those actors who are trying to upstage somebody. I'll choose not to do that. But you know what I'm talking about. Again, if you are relating to the other character like you should, maybe that character doesn't do a counter cross. Maybe this is an adversarial scene where you're not happy with each other and you're having an argument, something along those lines. Then you want to just be truthful to the scene as much as you can. But more importantly, don't upstage somebody. Don't decide that you want the focus to be on you. The more impressive a scene partner is in a callback situation, in being congenial, professional, being liked, having a really positive outlook and approach to the work, can go so far. Because don't forget, there's that other subliminal thing that's always being asked for. And that is, does the actor I'm about to hire work and play well with others? And you really have to think about that before going in. Sometimes in our own self-absorbed way, and I don't mean that in a deprecating way. I mean that you're so focused and energized and excited about a callback, and now you have a chance to show more of what you can do. We get lost in that and not take a bigger picture of the room, a bigger picture of who you might be working with. And being a considerate actor will go a very long way, because we can see that. We literally can sit there and experience that kind of energy. So the bottom line is, what to do is just know that on our side of the table, we're looking for chemistry. We're looking for that special something that looks great on you with your partner. Now, that might be something physical, that physically you look attractive to each other and with each other, if that's what the scene is calling for. Or you look like you're in the same world. You know how some people have a mid-century look about them? You know what I'm talking about, I hope. Or somebody has a real contemporary kind of look and energy. Those are the kinds of things that if you can relate to each other in a similar fashion, then that kind of chemistry can go a long, long way. Now, just one quick little side rule I'd like to share with you about a callback is make sure you have absolute permission if there's any kind of physical touching involved. You're not going to surprise your partner with a kiss or a hug or a squeeze unless you have absolute clarity and a prior permission given you. Really important that. Actors want to be liked and they want to do the right thing, but sometimes in their excitement, they go ahead and do something physical. Make sure that it is absolutely appropriate to what you're doing, and you're not doing it for some sort of dramatic effect to surprise the partner. That is never a successful thing to do, and that makes everybody feel uncomfortable. Make sure you have permission. Make sure that the partner says, yeah, it's fine if you want to grab my hand or you want to kiss my hand, or, whatever the choices are, and whatever the choices are for the scene, clearly, you want to make sure that that is copacetic. Ooh, good word, copacetic. Wow. So late in the podcast and I came up with that. Anyway, I hope that's really helpful to you. Callback, seal the deal. You can absolutely seal the deal by thinking about these things in professional terms, maintaining your focus and your energy, and let the enthusiasm of a callback wash over you and make you feel great about who you are, where you are, and what you're about to do, because that will shine through, and that joy of performance is something you absolutely cannot teach, but you certainly can experience it. And I love seeing that when actors walk into that callback with a mindset of, I can't wait to show you how I am going to play this part with my partner. That's it for today. I hope you had a good podcast, because I sure did. And please stay tuned for more. And I've got that exciting upcoming surprise in a future podcast. So please stay tuned. I'm Jeffrey Dreisbach, and this is Casting Actors Cast. Have a great day.
You've been listening to Casting Actors Cast with host Jeffrey Dreisbach. Find out more at castingactorscast.com and let us know if you would like us to cover topics you're interested in. Thanks for listening. I'm Matthew DeSarno.